Hey guys, I'm doing well today. Today on my round 7 preview of Blues versus Chiefs. So, starting off the Blues, they had a narrow loss last week against the Hurricanes, which is, from a Blues point of view, I was so upset by that that last minute conversion from Jordy Bear. I mean, it was far out as well. And, Jordy Bear, he's so good under pressure. And, of course, he converted the kick to let the Hurricanes win that match. So, yeah, fair play to them. You just got to give them props, really. The Blues are playing their game this week at Eden Park in Auckland, so they'll have that home advantage, which has normally been good for them within the Super Rugby Aotearoa competition. I think they beat the Highlanders and the Hurricanes so far at home. So hopefully we can add the Chiefs to that list. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, at number 1 they've selected Alex Hodgman. At 2 they've gone with Kurt Eklund. At 3 they've gone with Alpha Tungafasi. At 4, they're going with Patrick Tuipulotu, who's the captain, of course. At 5, they're going with Kali Tuati. At 6, they're going with Blake Gibson. At 7, they're going with Dalton Papali. And at 8, they're going with Akira Laoni. So yeah, a very good-looking forward pack there. I mean, especially with the likes of their loose forward trio of Gibson, Papali, and Ione. I mean, they'll be very dangerous within the breakdown. You can expect that. Blake Gibson is back within the side. He's replacing Aaron Carroll from last week's match because he's playing his 50th game for the club. So, that'll be hopefully he does well, in press. And yeah, they also have Kwali Tuati, who's replacing Josh Goodhue from the bench. That's a normal switch, really. I'm not really complaining about that. Kwali Tuati is a young lock in a way. And he's done well for the Blues. He's an up-and-coming, player for them. And yeah, other than that, they're still with James Parsons, just sidelined, still injured. We have Kurt Eklund, keeping his spot at hooker, which is great to see because he was very impressive last week. But yeah, other than that, I think that's it with the forwards. Moving on to the backs. At number 9, they've selected Finlay Christie. At number 10, they're going with Bowden Barrett. At 11, they're going with Caleb Clark. At 12, they're going with TJ Fani. At 13, they're going with Rico Ani. And at 14, they're going with Martelea. And at 15, they're going with Matt Duffy. So yeah, a very good-looking back line. Definitely a few changes in that back line for sure. I mean, starting with Bowden Barrett, that's probably the main one. He's finally going to be playing for the Blues at 10, which is odd to see because his last match, actually, I read into this. The last time he wore a 10 jersey was 324 days ago. So that's crazy. And the last time he played was, in a 10 jersey was for the All Blacks in their 92-7 win against Tonga, I think before the World Cup. So, yeah, it's been a long time for Barrett, not playing that 10 jersey. So it's good to see him there. He has received a lot of criticism for, his form, you could say, within the 15 role. But, I mean, I thought he was pretty impressive last week. He kind of proved that he still has the ability to play at 15. But, with Ontario Black out due to concussion, that fits in perfectly for Bowden Barrett to slot in within the 10 spot. So yeah, other than that, I mean, they've made changes to their wings with Caleb Clark coming back into the side following his rest from last week's game against the Hurricanes, and that then pushes Martelea to go into the slot into the 14 slot, which is perfectly fine with him because that's where he normally plays usually. And yeah, you have TJ Varney who's back into the side as well. He's replacing Harry Plummer. And that's just a straight shot, really, because TJ was on the bench last week. He's just coming on for him in the starting lineup. And yeah, the last change they made to the backs is with Matt Duffy, who's, you could say a replacement for Bowden in a sense at 15. I personally, I love watching Matt Duffy play. He always has that ability that not a lot of players have, within the catch of the ball, The player that always reminds me of just a player who's the best within catching the ball in Super Rugby ever is Israel Folau. And, Matt Duffy kind of reminds me in the sense of what he has similar skill set to Israel. And, he's a good catcher when, the ball's up in the air. So, yeah, no, I particularly like that selection. But yeah, moving on to the bench, they have a very strong bench, if I had to say so myself. They have the likes of Carlton Ofafi, they have Sino Mathaleo, they have Josh Goodhue, they have Tony Lamborn, they have Sam Knock, they have Ontario Black / Noada, just in case Black doesn't, get fit in time for the match. And then they have Harry Plummer as well. So, yeah, I would say it's a strong bench overall. It's not the strongest I've seen from the Blues, in which they've put out within this competition, but it's a pretty strong bench. So, moving on to the Chiefs, they have, you could say, kind of done the opposite to the Blues in making as many changes. They've only made one change to their side following their loss against the Highlanders last week, which was devastating if you're a Chiefs fan. I mean, I was heartbroken really if you're a Chiefs fan. I supported the Chiefs. I wanted them to get their first win within the competition, but man, the Highlanders really just pushed through, and it's crazy how they got the ball. Lachlan Boucher got that penalty within the 22, kicked it out, then he received it for the line out. Then there was obstruction. Then the Highlanders just won it back, and of course they won the line out. And then Aaron Smith passed in, and Tom. I'm not gonna go into it. That was a crazy moment for the Highlanders, and especially for the Chiefs. They're looking to get their first win within the competition. But yeah, other than that, they've started at number 1. They're going with Ruben O'Neill. At 2, they're going with Bradley Slater. At 3, they're going with Nebo Lalala. At 4, they're going with Tupou Valai. At 5, they're going with Mitchell Brown. At 6, they're going with Lachlan Boucher. At 7, they're going with Sam Kane, who's the captain again. And at 8, they're going with Gus. So yeah, it's a pretty strong forward pack there. I mean, they've only made one change really with Ruben O'Neill replacing Aiden Ross, who, to my knowledge, has, he picked up a calf strain within last week's match. So, yeah, other than that, they haven't really changed much of their forward pack. But yeah, I mean, the standout player within last week's match, personally, was Lachlan Boucher for the Chiefs. I mean, he was immense for them. He did score a try and was pretty, critical within those breakdowns and won 3 penalties at crucial periods of the game. So yeah, if he's on form, the Chiefs could do well. But yeah, other than that, I mean, they have a pretty impressive lock pairing with Valai and Brown. They've both done well within this competition, and the likes of their, front row. It's been recently they've always had to change it, because they've always had Takalejo maybe within the starting, or they've gone with Bradley Slater. But Bradley Slater's actually done well within the hooker slot. He did score, if I'm not mistaken, 2 tries recently. I'm not sure if it was last round or the round before, but yeah, he was pretty impressive. But yeah, moving on to the backs. At number 9, they're going with Brad Weber. At 10, they're going with Caleb Trask. At 11, they're going with Solomon Olomalo. At 12, they're going with Alex Nankivell. At 13, they're going with Anton Leonard-Brown. And at 14, they're going with Sean Manui. And at 15, they're going with Damian McKenzie. So yeah, a very good-looking back line. It's typical, really, of them. They haven't made any changes to their back line following last week's loss against the Highlanders. And to be honest, I wouldn't really change anything because they were pretty efficient within, their try scoring. I mean, I think they scored more tries within that game within any of their previous games. So yeah, definitely, I wouldn't change their backs for sure. And yeah, it seems that they haven't really. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think there's nothing much to say about their back line other than they were pretty. It's surprising that they haven't. Personally, I would have started Quinn Tapea. I think that's the one change they should have done, but Alex Nankivell was pretty impressive last week. But yeah, other than that, moving on to the bench, they have a pretty decent bench, I'm going to say. They have a few players who can impact the game within the second half with the likes of Takalejo, Mitch Carpet, Aaron Cruden, Quinn Tapea. So yeah, those are a few players that they have within their bench who can make an impact within the game. But the main one is actually Adam Thompson, who he's also looking to make his 100th Super Rugby appearance on the bench, which is very impressive, by the way. I mean, 100 Super Rugby appearances is just, you don't hear that a lot within the competition at the moment. You always hear the 50th mark, which is great to hear, but 100, it's very impressive. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get to see him coming off the bench for the Chiefs. So, moving on to the prediction. The prediction, I'll be honest, wasn't as hard as previous predictions I've made. The last time these sides played, Blues did win by 24-12 away. And going off that, I think the Blues will win again. I mean, that might be a bit biased, but I'm going to say the Blues will win and, hold off the Chiefs from getting their first win within the competition. And I'm going to go with 26-18 to the Blues. Yeah, 26-18 to the Blues is my final prediction. Yeah. Again, if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.